But I think this is an incredibly important parable for us to be focused on with the worry. Now, I know it does talk about just the word worry there in verse 22, but it's just one aspect of understanding that this is of the world, right? I said peace in a world not his. The world that's not his focuses on this deceit to bring happiness and joy, the riches. The world that we live in, is all kinds of full of pressures and persecution. People will persecute and pressure you about anything. It doesn't even just have to be about religion. If you try to do anything that steps out and away from the crowd, if the crowd is financially poor and you're trying to get more wealth, they will pick on you. If you're at your job and you try to elevate up the chain and other people are not willing to do that or know they'll never get there, they will pick on you. Anything that you do to try to elevate yourself in any way, you start doing life coaching and try to improve your life in any way, people will persecute and attack you. The crowd doesn't like when you step out from them. Whatever aspect of your life, if you start trying to be healthier and everybody around you, is not very healthy, you try to eat better, you try to exercise, whatever it is that you're trying to do different than the group that you normally hang out with, the world will call it. Some of you think, well, I don't hang out with the world. Well, you do. You spend enough time with people in the world. And you have those influences from the world. You start to step out from that, they will persecute you. It's not just about Torah observance. It can be any aspect of your life that you decide to do differently. And they will mock you, they'll tease you, they'll ridicule you, they'll do something to give you pressure. So realize how that all plays out. So this is the world that you are in, but not of. And there's no peace in that. If you become of, you don't have the peace. That's one of the measures of whether or not you're of the world. If the world is all freaked out and you're freaked out too, well, now you're of the world. You're doing what they're doing. You're supposed to not be of, just in. But if you act like they act and feel like they feel and think like they think, you're also of, not just in. Remember, Yeshua prayed that we would not be of. He didn't say that because he prayed we wouldn't be. He just prayed that we wouldn't be. That we would make the effort to identify and understand what would make the difference between being of or not of the world. In the world, you will have challenges. He says that in the world there's challenges and struggles and all this other stuff, but you are not. You need to have peace in that world. You're here as a journeyer. You're journeying through the world. But you should almost think of it from like back in the days remember when Teflon came out, it was all a big deal how nothing stuck to Teflon. And then you'd have politicians that they said they were like Teflon because these charges would go and nothing would stick, or different people like, we had that one mobster guy, they called him the Teflon Don because they had all these charges, nothing stick to him. They finally got him, but okay. But the idea that nothing would stick, that's what you need to be. If you're not of the world, it's like having a Teflon shield. It's called Torah. Nothing that the world throws at you will stick. You don't get any world on you. You don't need to go and get your, let me pull it out here. You don't need to get like your sanitizer from worldly stuff and every day try to, nothing will stick to you. I'm not saying that about the coronavirus. If you're touching things, you should use something like this. But I'm talking about when it comes to the spiritual matters. You can journey in a world and walk through it without any of it clinging to you or sticking to you. That is most important in terms of behaviors, emotions, mindsets, thinking patterns. You journey in the world and you will pick up, if you're not careful, if your Teflon isn't strong. How do you get a good, strong Teflon armor? Well, go to Ephesians 6, look at the armor of Elohim, right? But how do you get that good armor? You're in the Word as good ground, putting on all these things, nurturing the roots, pulling out all of the weeds and everything else that needs to come out of there so that there's nothing to grow in your garden. Nothing will stick to you. It doesn't have any way to go. That's what you need to have, is that protection. Then you can journey in the world and have no issues. That doesn't mean they won't persecute you, but you have no issues. Doesn't mean there won't be pressures, but it's okay.